Can you hear me? Carol Irons from Albany. I live 2.5 miles from the Lowell Wind Project by the road. Probably less as the crow flies. There's nothing between me and the turbines. My property is just to the east of the Black River, which is the back of my property. I do hear the turbines off and on. There are times when they are turning when I don't hear them at all. I know sometimes they feather them. In other words, they let them turn freely, but they're not attached to the generators at that point in time. So sometimes you see them turning and there's no noise. It seems to depend most on the weather and which way the turbine itself versus the blades is. And of course, I'm east of the turbines there to the west of me, so the prevailing wind brings the sound. I do not hear it in my house, which was recently built and is very well insulated. I do hear it in the yard. It's kind of the sound of an airplane over the mountain that never goes away. Sometimes a good bit louder, sometimes not as loud. I've called the people on the mountain when I hear it a lot louder. One of the things that was noticeable in the last 6 months was that when testing was being done, they weren't as loud. Then when they got real loud, I called up to the mountain to say, hey, what's going on? They're awfully loud today. Oh, well, they just removed their sound testing. So there's games being played. When you ask the fox to guard the chicken coop, you can just about plan on it, and it seems like that's what's played out. In terms of working in my yard, I can do that. I've always been outdoors. I've always rambled the mountainsides checking wildlife. I've gathered cattail leaves up there. I've looked for animal sign. That mountain range is pretty much off bounds to me now. I went up on that. I was within maybe 3/4 of a mile up on below the turbines, and I began feeling real ill. Now they were making their average noise, not excessive. And I was up there kind of looking for animal sign. I enjoy the woods. And I really began feeling ill, and it was the closest I can describe it is, this was in the fall after they had gotten running. And it felt like motion sickness. And I kept feeling more ill. I was afraid I was going to be sick. And I thought, I got to go home and lie down. About 30 to 40 minutes after I got off the mountain, got down to the car and was going home and got home, it cleared up. My assumption was you would have to be there for days before anything would affect you. It wouldn't affect you within a couple hours or an hour. So about 10 days, 2 weeks later, I went up again when the noise was about average. I had the same experience. So, you know, 5th graders know that noise is vibration, and you acknowledged that at the beginning tonight. And I think it was the vibration. Last summer, I was taking some produce up to the Nelsons because their garden had gotten in later than mine. And I had some produce already ready, and I took it up and was chatting with Shirley at the corner of the garage, and I could feel vibration in my ears. And that, again, was a day when the noise was what she termed as, you know, that's about average. And that's what I had thought when I left the house. But I could literally feel the vibration in my ears. It was very unpleasant. And I chatted with, I would not be able to be outside with that going on. And so I broke off the conversation and laughed. I mean, this is unreal. But,
approaching 3 minutes.
Okay. If you look at the sound advertisements for rodent repellent gizmos and you look at it from the source of the sound, it V's outward. Out into the, and I think that's what's happening from the turbines. And I think that needs to be studied, but it needs to be studied independently by someone who doesn't have a vested interest in saying everything's wonderful, because it isn't. Wind is renewable. Industrial turbines and massive environmental destruction is non-renewable. Thank you.
Thank you.